Welcome to the Durham Original Music and Alumni podcast, a show which takes you around the most exciting original music of any kind on or around the peninsula. My name is George Bone, Alumni Relations Officer, and joined with me today are Alex Comaish, Harry Henderson, and Etienne Currah of Flytrap Honey. Flytrap Honey are a group made up of two Durham students in a Newcastle first year. Comaish is the band's singer-songwriter, Henderson is the band's drummer, and Currah is the band's bassist. Although Alex and Harry have been performing together for the past 4 years, the band formed in their current state in late Epiphany term last year. Due to lockdown, they've been recording remotely, releasing a couple of lockdown tracks and a single entitled Stolen Days, with more, they assure me, on the way. They have also performed at virtual events in this way, including at Collingwood's virtual open mic night and virtual Collingwood Day. I'm incredibly excited to be joined by Alex, Harry, and Etienne themselves on the call. Now there's only one thing left to say. Good afternoon, all three of you. How have you been?
Hello.
I'm great, thank you. How are you, George?
Yeah, I've been great. Wow. Firing the questions right back at me.
We got to figure out what order we talk in.
Well, as long as it's all recording from different sources, then it will be fine.
Oh, true. Just true.
Yeah, as long as you don't all talk over one another, it'll be great.
We might have an issue then.
Yeah, it'll just a slight bit of an issue. Right. So, first question: the actual name of the band, Flytrap Honey. Who had the idea and where did it come from? And I feel like Alex has an answer to that. Like, I know he told me beforehand, but I just want you to share it with the world.
I didn't know you were going to go straight in with that.
It's one of the most important questions. It's your personality. It's your brand online.
We were trying to think. We thought about a lot of different names, and we were going back through like song lyrics and bits and pieces, and that Hendo and I had written down. We were coming up with all these titles, and Flytrap Honey was a term I'd come up with for a song about a girl. Kind of like that 50s, that's a real fly honey. Flytrap honey being the girl that gets you stuck in, and then
tell us more about the girl, Alex.
No. The awkward bit being that as soon as we released anything on Spotify, she knew exactly where the name had come from, and as did all the members of staff that I used to work with. And, last time I walked into that pub, one of the guys was just like, "All right, Justin Bieber," and I can't get away from it.
I feel like one of the most important bits of that was used to work there, because it just does imply that you were fired just because of that.
I wasn't fired. I did get a warning for being distracted at work.
Distracted by
Miss Flytrap Honey.
This has got off to a more than excellent start.
It's kind of quirky, and like I got my little brother Ollie, who's 15, to do the little honeypot logo, which is quite cool. We think. Well, I think
it is really, really cool. It's really, really nice. Yeah. At least it's not like a generic sort of like template sort of one. Like it's hand drawn and it's part of your character.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's got a bit of cartooniness to it, which I quite like.
Yeah, like a Winnie the Pooh-esque vibe.
Yeah, that's basically it. We are, Hendo's Winnie the Pooh. I'm pretty Piglet because he's short.
This has just turned into like a BuzzFeed questionnaire now.
Yeah. Which Winnie the Pooh character are you?
So, like, usually at uni, like, function bands, like, stick with their respective universities in finding members. Like, however, you guys have been different objectively in the fact that a third of you comes from a different uni. Yeah, granted, like, 15 minutes away, but still different uni. So, like, how difficult, or, like, even how easy was it setting up rehearsal schedules together? And, like, were there any, like, clashes in your preferred sort of style of working?
I mean, the core of the band is Alex and Hendo.
He's just distancing himself now. In case the ship goes down, he can be like, I said.
He's devolving responsibilities to both of you two.
I did want to say that. So when I first got, we made a little group chat, and I thought, all right, here we go, we're getting a band going. And I said, all right, guys, let's come up with a band name. We need something like cool and edgy. Hendo just put, it's Flytrap Honey. And I was like, oh, okay.
So there was no delegation. It was just, this is what it's going to be. You're going to deal with it.
But I think that's partly because we'd been playing, we played together at school. And then when Hendo, when we went to Durham and Newcastle, it was kind of like a no-brainer. It's not that far away. And then we were just kind of had to source a few people. From either one.
Yeah, also we couldn't find a better drummer.
So it's essentially just the Ringo Starr excuse.
We also found a bass player who didn't play bass.
And a singer who can't sing. We really shouldn't be a band.
So essentially, what we're getting from this is you really shouldn't be together, but you should be. But you are, like. So like I said, like, sort of how difficult was it, like, setting up rehearsals with each other? Because I know, like, you started in Epiphany term, and then your first performance was like near the very end of Epiphany term. So like, how did it work, sort of organising things together?
It was tricky.
Yeah, it basically involves me getting a train down to Durham, and then thankfully, thanks to the Rock Room and stuff at Collingwood's, I'd make that massive walk, give myself heartburn.
I'd roll out of bed 10 yards away.
Just kind of work quite efficiently in the Rock Room for a couple of hours, and then
here we are.
So we didn't.
Yeah.
It took a while to get like rehearsals going because we all had other things going on, and Etienne was really busy with like a lot of drama stuff. So our first gig at Chad's was actually at Chad's with another guy from Newcastle who he left because it was too time consuming and too much. Going to Durham was a bit of a pain in the ass for him. But we did that first gig. It is. We did that gig without Etienne because he had dress rehearsals or tech rehearsals for something or other. I can't remember what it was. You do so much. So it was kind of tricky. And then it was basically, we were quite irregular about practice. It was more like, have we got a gig? If so, let's ram in as much as we can as quickly as possible.
We were quite primed for kind of what we've learned to do over lockdown, which is kind of record and practice individually, because that was kind of the basis of what we were doing, especially for like the first gig that I did, which was the Collingwood day. In the first time that we'd rehearsed at a time as a 4-piece was maybe an hour or two prior to that.
Yeah, that was bad.
No, see, it went, it went all right. We'd practiced as like 2s or 3s or all of that, but trying to get all 4 of us in a room when it was 4 of us was a pain in the arse.
Also, playing an encore we hadn't practiced when I couldn't hear anyone just wasn't a good idea.
I think no. So the Collingwood, the Stag Sessions, it went really well until we decided that we could play She's Electric at the end,
and I couldn't hear anyone else.
Oh no, that was great fun.
Yeah, everyone apart from me.
Endo had one drumstick. It was kind of like a fun kind of chaos, but we were kind of going afterwards like, they might not have.
I mean, to be fair, like the event was because I organised it. The event was only supposed to have like 50 people there, and then like Harry, you brought like 50 to like 100 of your cohort from Newcastle, and then like as soon as like all of them arrive, I see the JCR president of Collingwood basically being like, there weren't supposed to be that many people here, Like it was rammed. It was absolutely rammed.
It definitely turned into. I wasn't. Hendo said he was bringing a few mates down.
Well, a few implied like an entire like street.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
But I mean, that's kind of nice though, because I think we've after that we realised that if we were to put on like a gig of our own, we could probably get quite a few people to come along to watch us do like a proper longer set.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was quite nice actually. People are being quite supportive.
Yeah, but like the majority of people that we had at Stag Sessions, not only in March but in November, were original musicians. Like we had Purple Dream there. We had you there as well. Like you did Johnny Be Good and a few covers, but like you did a lot of original songs yourself. What Does It Mean there, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Ray Davies, which actually a little plug. I've just put out lockdown new arrangements on social media and YouTube, which are actually really good. So go give them a good.
Honestly, right? Don't give me more things to edit. Like subtle plugs here and there, fine. But like when you're plugging an entire video, just stop.
No, we're not going to stick it in the video. It's just I mean, so those were the 2 songs that we kind of learned first. And the thing about learning covers for a gig is we can all kind of learn our parts more easily separately, but like when it comes to originals, like I might have like a rough arrangement for it, but it becomes a new thing. It kind of takes on its own. Everyone kind of adds their element to it a bit, so you really need more time to work on them as a group. and we didn't have that.
Do you think lockdown helped you in that respect? Because you basically just like had time to focus on your own individual bit, and you could sort of like delegate and work on it individually, like for original songs more specifically.
So like when we started doing the originals in lockdown, I basically like with Alex make an arrangement, a rough kind of demo thing on Logic, and then I'd bounce each person's individual part as a whole track to them just to learn their parts.
Oh, that's cool.
And then from there we could all kind of learn that, ping it back to me, and then we put it all back together, and hopefully it would sound all right.
Yeah, and that was especially true.
So you're basically like putting it together, taking it apart, and then putting it back together again.
Yeah. Whereas that's like the Ray Davies Isolation one, which is quite different to how we'd normally do it. So that's, it's got like 4-part vocal harmonies in it and stuff, which Hendo arranged because he's a little choir boy. And actually, I think it's coming. I think it's probably coming out most on So like the one that we've been working on for a little while, but we got kind of distracted. The one that's coming out next, I think that's the one that's kind of got more of like an individual stamp on each part. So so like we kind of did away with the bass line that I had put in the demo, and Etienne's come up with the new one, and Hendo's changed up the drums.
It's only taken half a year though.
Yeah, it's only taken a few months.
Like it does sort of show that sort of like your independent ability to sort of like work at home has sort of like boosted you in a way and sort of like made you more productive. Like because you essentially said sort of like, okay, I've taken this part, I sort of like it, but let's sort of do something different with it, but on my own accords, and then you brought it together virtually and like, hey, this actually sounds kind of good. Yeah,
I mean it's been adequate, but there's nothing quite like actually getting in a room and running through them and kind of like honing them until you're all happy with your parts, and it's kind of got like the sound, so it should like everyone's own little like stamp on all of their parts, and it gives you that sound that you could only really get from like playing in a band. It's lots of different people working together.
Yeah, going on from that, you were telling me beforehand that after stag sessions you were asked to do multiple events like by multiple organisers, and then COVID-19 hit, and then it sort of like disrupted that. How have you personally been able to sort of like get over that? Because I know that like you had a lot of gigs going for you and then they disappeared. Sort of like, how was the sort of conversations that you had with each other going, where you're like, okay, we've had these disappointments, how can we do better? And you have done better, but like what took you there? What sort of discussions did you have?
Alex takes away.
Well, I think I don't know. It was obviously it was a proper kick in the balls, because we hadn't done, it had taken quite a long time to get the ball rolling, and then suddenly in the space of a week we had stag sessions. We played at Grey Bar Fest, that went really well, and then suddenly we were meant to have a couple more Battle of the Bands stuff and things like that happening in early summer, and so it was kind of all like snowballing quite quickly, and then suddenly it was like, we're stuck at home with nothing to do. What do we do? Shit, let's record, and that's kind of, it was, I don't know, for me, it was like, the first couple of weeks of lockdown, I started recording rough demos and writing feverishly, and then we decided that we should actually, just do something as a unit and like get something out, just so that we've had something out.
I think we can do that, the kind of, we're trying to raise the profile, and that's what we were going to do by doing all these gigs and stuff. So we just thought we can do as much as we can from home by trying to get stuff out there and let a new crowd see the music that we've been doing.
Yeah, just like making the most of your time, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we can't. I think we'd all agree we'd probably prefer to be doing gigs and stuff at the moment rather than just recording. Like that's that's the bit we all really enjoy, is when you have a good gig and it all goes really well and you just get that. It feels amazing.
Yeah.
Don't drop your sticks.
Don't drop your sticks. Don't sing out of tune.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that. We were talking about that beforehand, and I just have in my notes, Harry Henderson can't hold a pair of drumsticks. Discuss. So what is this fable that you're about to tell us?
Oh God, it was in, which song was it as well?
Well, this started a couple of years ago when me and Alex first started playing together. We had an audition for a gig, And in that audition, I dropped my stick 4 times, which wasn't great. But luckily, I had 6 sticks next to me as spare, so I could just pick them
He
up.
was literally just like taking them out of the rack and drop over the shoulder, like, you know.
Over and over again.
So what you were doing was essentially just preempting that you were going to fail on this bit, and you were like, "I've got backups, don't worry."
And then I think, and there's a photo somewhere of the moment at the end of the song after Hendo had just dropped. It was 1 or 2 of them, but it was so funny. And there's the photo of the rest of the band. We're all kind of deep in discussion, like, what are we doing next? How did that go, kind of thing. And then it's Hendo in the background shouting across the room at someone who'd obviously just heckled him.
Someone had been like, "Hold your sticks together." I just gone off.
No, I mean, coming back to those gigs that we missed out on, we have like. We started like putting together like tentative plans for what we might be able to do.
Yeah.
Come, the start of the uni year or October, or like November, December, as when things can go back to normal. Like high on our list of priorities is to do a big old gig, like kind of as big as we can get it, and not and try and get as many people in there as possible. As kind of like a big, like it wouldn't, not a debut gig because obviously it isn't, but kind of like a big punchy, like proper thing with like a
sort of like
like a first
sort of like a
proper
welcome
gig,
back to music sort of like gig.
Yeah, exactly, and like that would be great. And then we were talking briefly as well about what are the possibilities of going on tour, because obviously with friends across different universities, you kind of have like a built-in like friendship crowd that you can like tap into.
Yeah.
So plus we've got a huge fan base anyway.
Yeah, plus we're amazing.
As a self-described misfit group of singers, bassists, and drummists, yeah, we're amazing. We're great.
I mean, someone bought the single in Luxembourg. We don't know anyone in Luxembourg.
What? So we got our first Apple Music
thing back.
Like invoice.
And someone in Luxembourg paid 79p for the single.
Right. Okay.
We were, it's kind of like very confused, but also, oh, hello, let's go and play in Luxembourg to one person.
It's just like you shutting down the microphone, like, "Are you ready?" And then one person's like, "Yeah."
That's normal for us.
Nice. So, I want to talk about the single that you're going to be playing to us now, "Stolen Days." If you haven't listened to it already, it's a brilliant single. Spotlight Music UK described it as a harkening back to the heady days of indie giants for a new generation. It also describes the mixing as well, but we won't go into that.
This one still divides opinion because
that's the only song that I wasn't allowed to edit.
It's because I had already put it on. I'd kind of got like carried away and put it out there because I just wanted to put something out there, and then once it was out there, it was like.
Yeah, obviously, as you're like performing it and as you're mixing it, you're like I can see where there's sort of dodgy bits, but I hope nobody picks you up on it. And then when people pick you up on it, you're like, "Oh no!" But sorry, go on.
Well, it was that was me just kind of getting carried away. I think I needed Hendo to tell me stop, and I didn't. I mean, I'm happy with it. I think it's like people have like really enjoyed it. Like people that aren't so 100% fussed about like mixing or stuff. Like I think if you're interested in that kind of stuff, there are some definitely glaring bits. But I think as like just kind of like an upbeat sort of indie tune, it's quite good.
Yeah. Just something to sort of like describe the moment that we're in, and essentially
I was moving my stuff out of college a couple of weeks ago, and someone drove past with the top down, and waved at me, and I listened, and it was Stolen Days coming out the speakers at full blast.
No! Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, right, yeah.
We are partially famous now.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk about the music video, and it's taken by multiple different people doing like iPhone video, doing like sort of relatively professional video from multiple different parts of the country, from multiple different parts of the world. So like, how many people did you actually have involved in that creation, and like what was your sort of goal behind it? Because I know Stolen Days was sort of referring to how coronavirus has essentially sort of taken a bit of life from us in the summer. So like, what did you want to get out of the visual bit of that sort of experience that the audio couldn't?
So I think, like with Stolen Days and the whole kind of the concept of the video around it, I think a lot of it came from this kind of, as we were saying before, that third term was meant to be kind of a relatively big term for us in terms of gigs and kind of getting ourselves more out there, playing live, amassing more of a following in Durham and Newcastle.
Yeah.
And when that couldn't happen, we realised that in terms of, although this isn't primarily our aim, becoming or having more of an internet presence could be a lot more beneficial during kind of a time where everyone's going to be at home by their phones, computers, etc. So we started putting a lot more songs on Spotify, and we started, our social media accounts, our Instagram, our Facebook, all of that we started to get more of a following. And we realized that through that there was a lot of kind of everyone being in this similar state meant that everyone was thinking about slightly similar things, always reminiscing about, last summer or past holidays and things like that. And we came up with this idea of the music video for the song being this collection of clips of the times which we can't be having right now, but which we have had. So kind of recalling that positive sentiment.
Yeah, and will come again. I mean, it's
exactly.
When I first wrote the song, actually, like the chorus "Stolen Days" wasn't actually about the lockdown. It was about like, I don't know, being when I was like 15, 16. It was like the summer days that we stole away to like sneak off and drink in the woods and shit. Like it was, but then it suddenly took on this whole new aspect. And so, with the video, we just wanted to be like really positive and feel good, and like, yeah, we can't be having all of these things right now, but they'll come back.
Yeah.
So it's essentially sort of like taking the sort of same spirit of Castle on the Hill at first, but then you sort of like morph it into something that, hey, it's relevant to today. Let's sort of like metamorphose it slightly to sort of be more pertinent to today.
Yeah, and I mean, also, it doesn't really matter what the hell I had in mind when I wrote it. It's like, once someone's listened to it, it's what they get out of it, really.
Yeah.
So edgy.
Sorry, who are you?
Well, we've got a clip from Stolen Days to play for you now, and then a small snippet of the end of your isolation mix on your Facebook page. Is it on your Instagram as well, or is it just Facebook?
So the isolation's on. It's on Spotify.
Ah, nice.
Deezer, that one that rapper set up. I don't know what it is.
Here's a clip from Stolen Days and their end of their Ray Davis isolation remix.
Do you remember our stolen days? We were always running, and I remember our stolen days. We were always running. So Ray Davies, sing me your lullaby, I'll drift off to sleep. Waterloo sunset's just an alibi for all the things I can't reach.
You can catch up with Flytrap Honey on Facebook and Instagram, and Stolen Days is available on Spotify and Apple Music. If you're listening on YouTube, all the links are down in the description. And if you're listening on Anchor, go support them by moving off of Anchor and following them on Facebook and Instagram. Guys, Thank you so much for coming to have a chat today. It's been really, really fun.
Thank you for having
hope you've
us.
enjoyed it as much as I've had recording it.
It's been nice to talk to
Yeah.
people.
Can I just reassure anyone, because like with the tech issues, I'm not involved in any of the mastering and or microphone.
So you're taking no credit. You're essentially
No,
taking no
as in
credit.
like the gigs are a safe space.
Yeah, so anything that this disclaimer warning: anything that's crap is not Etienne's fault.
Alex Comaish, Harry Henderson, and Etienne Currah of Flytrap Honey. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
George.
Cheers, George.